Hey guys, if you haven't already, give the video a like, subscribe to my channel. This is a what if series and I'll be doing more down the road, so stay tuned and thanks for watching. Alright, hey guys, and welcome to part 3 of What If Deku Had the Power Level can do a lot of things that not too many heroes can. I mean, his quirk is very powerful with the quirk that he has. But anyway, thank you guys for so much support on this series, as I didn't think it was going to get this much support, to be honest, and I'm quite honest about that. I didn't really think this series was going to be liked like that, because not too many people like OP characters, and I'm a big fan of OP characters. I like OP characters because in my all access to all his powers, and in those 10 months, like I told you, he would have had his time stopping power up to 5 minutes, but he wouldn't use the time stopping ability like more per se. He would use, say for example, say when he's fighting someone, he would use his time to make the person look like they're going slower, when in actual reality he's just using his power to make you feel like you're going slower. And also, he's also going to be using the time stone to make it look like he's moving at incredible speeds when actually he's not. So, as the UA entrance exam begins, I forgot to go into the part where everything goes. Well, let's just get into the story. I'm stuttering, but let's get into the story. Anyway, so Deku arrives at UA High School after he just got done talking to All Might, and All Might has passed over his quirk to Mirio, who is proven to be a good successor for it, able to handle at least. Should it be okay? You guys tell me in the comments below. Tell me in the comments. Should Mirio master One for All? Because I was gonna say he's mastered One for All at like 95%, but do you want him to master at 100%, or do you want it to be lower than 95%? Because Mirio is he got a body like All Might in his prime. So let me know in the comments if you want it to be like 95 or 100% or lower than that. Whichever one, however many comments, I'll pick and choose how I go about it in part 4. But anyway, Mirio has One for All. And Deku's just leaving. He's got done talking to them and everything. He's got done talking to All Might. All Might tells Deku that you have extraordinary power, young Midoriya. But be careful with your power. Do not let your power get to your head or anything else. Become a good hero that protects those people, protects the city, protects the nation, protects the world. Don't ever become a villain or lose your way or your will of a hero. And Deku takes heart of that. He takes note of that and listening to All Might's words, because All Might is a very preachful guy. He's a very talk no jutsu guy and always able to, motivate those people around him, especially like Izuku Midoriya. Izuku looks up to All Might. Even though Izuku's strong, he still looks up to All Might as a mentor, as a teacher. And so as Deku's walking, I told you his outfit. He has sort of like, the Yamcha shoes in, so you know how the Dragon Ball Z saga first started off, right? So you know how they had those black shoes? Like black shoes. So Deku has the pants, but they're black. They're black. And he has like a green like shirt. And he has the shoes that he has on are red. So those little shoes, but they look similar to like Krillin or Yamcha shoes when they were fighting in Planet Namek before he had his like Saiyan outfit. If you know what I'm talking about, I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so Deku had a green long sleeve shirt, those kind of pants from Dragon Ball Z, and the shoes. And he was doing his little stretches after he got done fist bumping Kachan and skipping the little parts. Deku would have never fell. So the whole thing with Ochaku, she probably would have came up and introduced herself. So let's just leave it like that. But Deku would have never been tripped over his feet and fell. So Ochaku would have never had to catch him. So instead, Ochaku would have just came up to Deku and introduced herself. I think no, she wouldn't have, because the only reason she caught Deku was because he was falling. If he wasn't falling, I don't think those two would ever talk. So let's just keep it that way. Anyway, so we come into the classroom as Deku's he has his hands, his fist, like, you know how one of those anime characters, they just slouch down after they listening to a really boring preachment, like. So President Mike, He's explaining about the 3-pointer robots, the 2-pointer, the 1-pointer. He's explaining about the 0-pointer, which they have to stay away from. Don't go anywhere near that. And he's just anxious to get into the fight. He doesn't know why he has to listen to this stuff, but because he already knows it. He already knows everything about the entrance exam and how to beat it. He knows about the stuff that the teachers are not talking about and the secrets that they're hiding. Deku knows everything. This man knows the world's most famous secret. But he's one of those people that just says like, it's none of my business. Why should I be bothered with it? I wish this guy would just hurry up. I'm ready to test out my powers and see what I can do. So after President Mike got done explaining it, all the kids go out to the field, and Deku was sectioned in basically the section he was in the anime. I don't remember the sections that they were necessarily in. All I can know is Deku was in there and he was scared. But except for in this universe, Deku's not scared or nothing. He's just ready to fight. He's just ready to test his abilities out. And all of a sudden, you heard, "Go!" And as President Mike said that, Deku just took off. So you just see lights like portals or stuff like opening. Deku just bouncing around. Well, not portals. Deku's just bouncing around the field using the power of the Power Stone. And he's also using the Mind Stone to find out what other competitor. Well, I guess basically he's using the Mind Stone for his telepathy use. As he's just smashing through the robots with the Power Stone with immeasurable strength. When he hits the robots, they explode immediately. As Deku's just bouncing all across the field, racking up points. Basically racking up a lot of points. Taking out of a lot of robots. Deku's having no hassle or basically no struggle against these robots. They're not causing him any effort. He's not breaking any sweat. So Deku's, as he got done bouncing around and testing out his new power, he looks at himself and his hands and his speed and he say, "Oh my god, this feels great. I wonder what happened if I combined it all together." And all of a sudden you see Deku. He was just using one of the stone's power. He's just using just one of the stone's powers as you see these rainbow-like shocks go all over Deku's body, and then you see this rainbow-like aura just shoot up into the sky as Deku's letting out a massive roar. And then all of a sudden, everything just comes out, and Deku, while noticing this is how his power shot up. Imagine Goku's power. See this one over here, Goku's? Not Kefla's, but Goku's. His power would be shooting up like that, but it'd be more like a rainbow-like aura. So, with that, Deku now sees that he's taking up a form where he can fly. He can telepathically control things, like, basically he's a telepath, not telepath, but telekinesis. That word. He can control things by telekinesis, phase through objects with this form, and his hair is somewhat similar to the form when he went 100% with Eri on his back, except for his hair is white with rainbow light extensions, like rainbow light colors through his hair. So as Deku's just realizing he's taken up a form that he's not known of, he has to call it something. So he calls it. That's for you guys to decide. So what do you think I should call this brand new form that Deku just transformed into in the middle of the entrance exam? And you see Kachan, he's looking at him and he just says in his head, "I bet that's Deku over there with that amazing ass quirk." And then you hear Todoroki and says, "So that's the new student, huh? He's not too impressive." As you know Todoroki's attitude, he doesn't see, no. Todoroki is very insightful. He knows power when he sees power. So I don't think that Todoroki would be scared of him. You guys let me know in the comments about that too. But I don't think Todoroki would be intimidated by Deku. I still think he would challenge him at some point. So as Deku's just testing out his new form, he realized that he can shoot beams out of his, shoot beams and blast projectiles out of his hands. You notice when Thanos used the gauntlet, he shot a beam at Thor and Thor countered it by throwing his axe at it. Well, Deku can sort of blast beams like that with his hands as he's taking this new form, but he can't stay in the form for too long, as Deku managed to take out a lot of robots with this form, zipping through each and every robot like it was nothing. And The power of this form was like all the stones combined into one infinity stone. And basically, the power gave Deku the ability to use everything at his access. And it was just immeasurable strength. Deku was moving so fast, so strong. Like, picture this point right here. Deku was punching the robot with his eyes. Yes, a Jiren like power. Deku was punching the robot with his eyes. His hands and things were moving so fast that the robots couldn't see it or necessarily dodge. And then we get to dodge it, you know. So Deku was just beating the shit out of these robots. He was beating the crap out of these robots, and they couldn't do anything. There were nothing to Deku. So with that, as Deku just getting bored of this, he heard a girl scream, and he noticed she was under a rock as the rock fell on her leg and she couldn't move. And Deku walks over to her and say, "Oh my God, good grief! How did you get stuck under a rock? Ain't your quirk anti like zero gravity?" And she goes to say, "Well, I got unfocused." You got unfocused. Is that even a word? Well, you're stuttering. Stop stuttering. You know, that guy can be a very hassle if he stomps on you. Well, it can be a huge problem if he does. You might die. And she goes to say, "Yeah, can you please help me?" Well, that's what I came over here for. So I'm gonna take care of this guy and I'll be right back. So even Deku, he has a heart, but he wondered why Ochaku got bodied by a rock when she had zero gravity. Basically, one touch to that thing could have made it float away. Deku didn't understand it. I mean, and he does have the Mind Stone, but he just really didn't understand the way the world works. And he wondered why there were villains and there were heroes. And he wondered why there were these people in between. And then the lower people of society, like the police officers and all these other things. The world is divided into individual parts. And Deku, with his mind ability, is trying to find out how the world is so divided and what can he do as a hero to bring everybody together. Because basically, everyone is not the same. Everyone can't do what everybody else does. Everyone's not a hero. Everybody can't become a hero. And he just wants the answer to those dreams and see if he could change the world. And just to make it more peaceful, as peace is obtained, like it's earned. Only true peace is obtained and earned instead of just like being in a dream, as Gara said in the Ninja World War. Off topic though. So Deku instantly jumps up off the ground with such speed as the ground breaks beneath his feet. And he jumps up there and he yells as Deku just stopped the robot in time. Now Deku's just floating there and he's looking at it. So Deku wants to test like what he can do while time is stopped. So he powers up and you see this purple like power going around Deku and he just sends off a voracious like so many attacks to this robot that you could see that the robot. So the damage wasn't there yet, but you would see the punches, the kicks, the everything Deku could think of. He did to this robot and did it so fast to when he went down there and removed like took the rock off of Chaku, picked her up, and then he ran back to where the other students was, and time resumed. As then it played and the robot exploded. Literally exploded. The whole thing just exploded and all of the debris was just raining down. It wasn't big debris, it was just small, light things just tickling towards the ground. And she looked at Deku and said in her head, "How did he do that? For an instant, I couldn't even see his attack. It was like he was moving so fast." Sorry about that penny drop. Hey, but so as she's saying this, Deku goes to look at her and she says, "If you're wondering how I move so fast, you should keep a good eye on me, as I can stop time." And she would go to say, "You can stop time? What? That's impossible. That's not even real." "Oh, is it now? Is your mind that far in the Stone Age that you don't think a person with a quirk of time can be real?" as there is a person with a quirk that can stop quirks. Well, there's a person in this world called Shoto Aizawa who can basically nullify or cancel out a quirk. So, do you really think it's not possible to have a time quirk? She goes to say, "Well, if you when you say it like that, it kind of all makes sense because we live in a world where the impossible is possible." There you go. You're right. Oh, good grief. This is giving me a headache. All right, well, the test should be over in about five, four, three, two, and the test ends with all the students gathering up a lot of points. All Might looking up there, and he was looking at young Midoriya, how he performed, showed that Shoto Aizawa was surprised that he knew who he was. And All Might explained that this student would have the infinity quirk to them. And they would go to say, "So, what's an infinity quirk? Beats me. It's something this kid developed, and I guess we've been training together. But basically, I can tell you what his quirk really is, what his quirk is." Ooh, I swallowed there. But All Might would go to explain his quirk to Shoto and the team, and he would tell them that this boy might be the strongest hero we've ever seen yet. And we're glad and lucky he has the ambitions and looks up to me as becoming a hero. If those dreams were shattered, I could only fear what he would do with that kind of power. But instead of him being a threat, he aims to be the hero to protect those who can't protect themselves. He wants to be that person to look out for those who can't look out for themselves. And his quirk basically is infinity. It gives him control over time, soul, life, time, soul, reality, mind, space, and power. Basically giving him those six singularities, those six powers, makes him infinite. I don't think he ever runs out. What was then Shoto Aizawa goes to say, then what was that power he just displayed? It was like so rainbow-likey. Like, what was that he was displaying? I don't know. That is kind of new to me. I guess he found a way to basically use all the powers at once and basically use it as his own power, thus giving him a transformation like state. Oh, really? That's really interesting, Toshinori. Well, I should keep an eye on him, but he looks like a very decent student. I guess he could be very, very promising, as all these students this year were very promising and interesting to watch. I look forward to seeing more of this Izuku Midoriya, the principal would go to say. So, as Deku's just heading home and all that, he gets stopped by Kacchan, and Kacchan asks, as they're walking home, Kacchan asks Deku how did he do in the exam, and Deku asks Kacchan the same, as both of them saying they did great, and Kacchan saying, I hope I did at least good, well, at least better than you damn nerd. And Deku would go to say, come on, name calling, as they would fist bump, and Deku would go to say, I hope you made it into UA High School, Kacchan, because you would make an interesting, if he weren't there, it would be very sad, because you are an interesting friend to have. Even though you have a very vulgar like attitude, and Kacchan will go to lash out and say, what did you say? You damn nerd. What did you say to me? And Deku would go to say, calm down. I'm just kidding. As he turns around and says, anyway, bye. I have to head home. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you when we make it in the UA High School. And to my perspective, I think we both made it, Kacchan, because we're going to be in the same class together. As Deku just waves and disappears off. And with that, having Deku as a friend, Kacchan didn't have no doubt that he didn't make it into UA High School, as Deku's very insightful and he already knows that he made it. And he already knows that Kacchan made it and a few other selection of students made it. So with that, we come to now of all the students with Deku being accepted and he getting a video telegraphication from All Might because his mother basically came into the room and she says, yo kid, I was working on my latest suit and I had this kind of mail came in. Is this got something to do with you? And Deku instantly opens it and he says, Oh, I've been accepted to UA High School. I kind of knew that was going to happen. Oh, so you're going to be attending UA High School. Yeah, me too. And Deku's eyes just, his mouth just dropped and he said, thanks, and he said, like, what is my mother gonna do at UA High School? As for your little thoughts in your head, Deku, I'm a teacher there. And Deku says, oh, I forgot you have that little infinity chest plate that you took my blood so you can basically learn how my powers work, or you're basically just using them. I'm using them to better understand my child and to basically comment on stuff like that. If so, there's one person that can be in my head, and it's my mother. Interesting, as I know how to block you out now. So with that, Deku's now in UA High School. Deku's now getting now he's in UA High School, so he's accepted, and now we're going to the UA apprehension test. The UA apprehension test arc, and so this one might be very interesting as I'm gonna put it very different, or I'm gonna relate it very different because it's gonna be a lot of changes and a lot of surprises to a bunch of people in there. Deku's going to be doing some things in the next part that might seem shocking or that might seem a very off-putting, but Deku's power is basically limitless. So without any further ado, you guys have a good day, a good night, and you already know the deal. Plus Ultra! The like goal is 180 likes.